The first time I saw her, I thought she was a hallucination. After all, it's not every day you see a 7-foot-tall alien princess with shimmering, opalescent skin and hair that glows like starlight. She stood in the middle of the bustling spaceport, surrounded by her royal guard, her eyes scanning the crowd with a mix of curiosity and regal indifference. I was just another human mechanic, grease-stained and forgotten, tinkering with a malfunctioning ion thruster on a cargo ship. But then her gaze landed on me, and she smiled. I froze, my wrench slipping from my hand and clattering to the floor. Her smile was like nothing I'd ever seen, warm, genuine, and utterly disarming. Didn't make sense. Why would an alien princess, a member of the Celestial Dominion's ruling family, even notice someone like me? But before I could process what was happening, she was walking toward me, her guards scrambling to keep up. "You," she said, her voice melodic and tinged with an otherworldly accent. "What is your name?" I stammered, wiping my hands on my jumpsuit. Jake. Jake Corvin, Your Highness." "Jake," she repeated, as if testing the sound of it. "I am Zynara, 3rd Princess of the Celestial Dominion, and I require your assistance." And blinked. "My assistance? With what?" She tilted her head, her glowing hair shifting like liquid light. "My personal shuttle has developed a malfunction. I was told you are the most skilled mechanic in this port." I glanced at the shuttle behind her, a sleek, state-of-the-art vessel that probably cost more than my entire home planet's GDP. I'll do my best, Your Highness." She smiled again, and my heart did a somersault. "I have no doubt you will." Over the next few weeks, Zynara found every excuse to visit the spaceport. At first, I thought it was just her way of ensuring her shuttle was in perfect condition. But then she started asking questions about me, about Earth, about human culture. She was fascinated by the smallest things. How we celebrated birthdays, why we enjoyed something called pizza, and why humans insisted on keeping pets despite their inefficiency. "They're not pets," I explained one day as we sat in the shuttle's cockpit, the stars stretching endlessly outside the viewport. "They're family." She tilted her head, her luminous eyes narrowing in thought. "Family. But they are not of your species." "Doesn't matter," I said with a shrug. "Love doesn't care about species." She fell silent at that, her gaze drifting to the stars. I couldn't read her expression, but for a moment she looked almost vulnerable. The turning point came during a diplomatic gala on the Dominion's flagship. Zynara had invited me as her personal guest, a gesture that raised more than a few eyebrows among the elite. I felt out of place in my borrowed suit, surrounded by aliens in glittering robes and humans in tailored uniforms. But Zynara never left my side, introducing me to dignitaries and nobles with a pride that left me baffled. "Why are you doing this?" I asked her during a quiet moment on the observation deck. "I'm just a mechanic. I don't belong here." She turned to me, her expression serious. "You are wrong, Jake. You belong wherever you choose to be." "No. I choose to have you here." Her words sent a jolt through me, but before I could respond, the alarms blared. The ship was under attack. Chaos erupted as the lights flickered and the deck shuddered under the impact of enemy fire. Zynara's guards rushed to her side, but she waved them off. "Protect the delegates. I will be fine." "Your Highness," one of the guards protested, but she cut him off with a glare. "That is an order." The guards hesitated, then obeyed, leaving us alone on the observation deck. Zynara grabbed my hand, her touch surprisingly warm. "Come with me." She led me through the ship's labyrinthine corridors, her movements swift and confident. We reached a hidden escape pod just as another explosion rocked the ship. She shoved me inside, but I grabbed her arm. Wait. Aren't you coming? She shook her head. I must stay. My people need me. But, Jake, she said, her voice soft but firm. You are important to me. Please go. The pod doors closed before I could argue, and I was launched into the void, the flagship shrinking in the distance. Felt helpless, useless. But as the pod's autopilot guided me to safety, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't let her down. The next few days were a blur. I used every connection I had to gather information about the attack and Zynara's whereabouts. When I finally learned she was being held captive by a rogue faction, I didn't hesitate. I assembled a ragtag team of humans and aliens, each of us with a personal stake in the mission. Together, we infiltrated the enemy stronghold, our determination outweighing our lack of resources. We found Zynara in a dimly lit cell. Her glow dimmed but her spirit unbroken. When she saw me, her eyes widened in disbelief. Jake, what are you doing here? Rescuing you, I said, grinning despite the situation. You didn't think I'd leave you behind, did you? She stared at me for a moment, then laughed, a sound so pure and joyful it made my chest ache. You are extraordinary. Back on the Dominion's flagship, Zynara was hailed as a hero for her bravery during the attack. But when the celebrations were over, she sought me out. We stood on the observation deck once more, the stars stretching endlessly before us. Jake, she began, her voice trembling slightly. There is something I must tell you. I turned to her, my heart pounding. What is it? She took a deep breath, her glow intensifying. I have developed feelings for you. Deep, inexplicable feelings that defy logic and reason. I do not know if this is what humans call love, but I know that I cannot imagine my life without you in it. I stared at her, my mind racing. Zynara, I don't know what to say. She looked away, her glow dimming. You do not have to say anything. I understand if you do not feel the same. No, I blurted out, grabbing her hand. I mean, I do feel the same. I never thought someone like you could feel that way about someone like me. She turned back to me, her eyes shining. You are wrong, Jake. You are not someone like you. You are you. And that is more than enough. In the weeks that followed, Zynara and I navigated the complexities of our relationship. There were challenges, of course. Cultural differences, political pressures, and the occasional interstellar crisis. But through it all, we held on to each other, our bond growing stronger with each passing day. One evening, as we watched the sunset from the observation deck of her flagship, Zynara turned to me with a mischievous smile. Jake, do you remember when you told me that love does not care about species? I nodded, my heart swelling with affection. Yeah. Why? She leaned in, her lips brushing against mine in a kiss that left me breathless. When she pulled away, her glow was brighter than ever. You were right. And in that moment, surrounded by the infinite beauty of the cosmos, I knew that no matter where life took us, we would face it together. An alien princess and a human mechanic, bound by a love that transcended the stars.